Special guest joining the show from The Athletic, also has a Facebook page for his Cowboys content, the great and powerful Jon Machota. What's happening, John?
Nothing. You guys got a pretty good debate going on over there.
I don't even know what the debate was. I forget every segment as soon as it ends. And I forget everything that I said right after I say it. Now, you actually recently wrote a projected 53-man roster. We just did the tight ends, and Jesse tried to make Michael Trigg tight end one. Did you have him make the team?
I didn't make him tight end one.
Him like he tight end one.
All right.
Guys, I'm talking to the guest. Did you have him making the team?
I did. I had him over a Princeton fan. I heard you guys talking about Schoonmaker, and I think Clarence will agree with me on this. Maybe he won't, but like my thing on Schoonmaker is it's kind of like the Terrence Steele thing. He is a guy, I'm not comparing the two, but he is a guy that I get the sense that the coaches like way more than the fans do. Like when the coaches talk about those two guys, I'm not saying that it's this high praise, but it's one of those things where I'm like, yep, he'll be on the roster, or Terrence Steele, he's not losing his starting job. Like that was one of the biggest things out at the combine, when you're out there talking to people and you go into that part of the offseason, you're thinking, all right, well, they got questions at both tackles. I left the combine going, oh, they seem just fine at right tackle. Their concerns are at left tackle. And I feel that same way about Schoonmaker. Like, I get what the fans say. I get that a lot of people think it's time to move on. I just don't get that sense from the coaches.
So when you look at the way that this roster is being constructed offensively, are we looking at any kind of surprise people that will make this roster and like a Trigg that will be inserted into this, whatever this offense, the greatness of this offense was last year? Will there be any new faces that will be inserted into this offense in 2026 that gives us a new look to this offense?
Yeah, it's interesting because, Brian Schottenheimer likes to talk about getting Turpin more involved or Hunter Lipke more involved. And it's like, we've been hearing that, but you don't really see it. And so to me, I think Trigg would be the guy, because I don't see another running back on the roster that's going to take carries away from Javonte Williams. I really don't see another receiver that's going to overtake things if you have George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb and Ryan Flanoy and Kevontae Turpin. Like, I just don't know where there's enough touches there for anybody else to make a big impact. So I do think Brevin Spann-Ford will take another jump. I think he's their clear number 2 tight end right now, but maybe he takes on a bigger role. But Trigg would be the one. I just don't think there's a lot of openings for offensive skill players to make a big jump because they're kind of set with what they are. But Trigg would be the one. And, they do keep quite often undrafted, at least one undrafted rookie free agent. I just think he's clearly the favorite right now.
Johnny Matches, what's happening with you, baby? You good?
I'm not good. I just had a root canal yesterday.
I'm sorry. But you got to ask people how they doing, man. I'm good, man. Get that smile right. So let's get back to the messy stuff, okay? George Pickens didn't show up. Is it a big deal? Not a big deal? You surprised? Does it need to come in and just do the right thing and come to all the voluntary stuff? Or should he just wait for mandatory? What you got?
For other teams, it might be a big deal, but this is just how the Cowboys do business. So I don't think it's a surprise for anybody within their organization, and I don't think it's a surprise for George. I don't think that fans should be surprised by it. You just look at last year with Micah Parsons. Why would this be that much different? So I don't think this part matters that much. But if he's sitting there missing some training camp and things like that, that's when you would have an issue. But I don't expect him to be at any of the stuff that's voluntary. So not a real surprise to me. Not really a big deal. As long as he's there at training camp, as long as he's there for week 1, he knows what he has to do. He hit the ground running pretty quickly last year. So yeah, of course, in a perfect world and on a lot of other teams, you'd want this stuff all ironed out and have all your guys together, ready to hit the ground running as soon as you hit camp. But that's just not how the Cowboys do business. And so I don't think George is going to be at anything that's voluntary. So no, it doesn't surprise me.
One quick question here.
Oh my God.
I gotta have 2.
That's 2.
I gotta have one more quick question here. Fast forward to next year. Will George Pickens get a deal and be on this team in 2027?
My answer all really has to do with how the team performs. If they do what they've done the last 2 years, no, he's gone. He'll sign somewhere else. But if you tell me the Cowboys, everything goes right for them, they stay healthy. Christian Parker makes a big impact. Caleb Downs, the defense is, much better than last year. And this is a NFC championship type team. There's no way Jerry Jones is letting George Pickens go. It might be ugly again next offseason, but he's not going to allow him to leave. So if you can tell me how the team does, I'll tell you if he's here or not. So that's kind of where I'm at on that. I would say if you tell me I don't get that information, I just have to pick now, I'd probably say that he's playing for another team just because I think things could get ugly to where it's like, all right, let's just go in another direction. And the Cowboys look at it as, hey, our defense is better now. Maybe we don't need 2 number 1 wide receivers. So I guess if I had to pick, I'd say no. And then obviously David Mulligetta being his agent too. I just think that he'll find him a deal somewhere where it'll be a better opportunity for him. But if things are winning, man, I just find it hard to believe. If you get the Cowboys to the NFC Championship game or beyond, I find it hard to believe anybody's leaving. Everyone's going to try and stay on that track.
Johnny, Troy Aikman was on Get Up, and he said that the Cowboys defense, like as long as they are at least average, and then said that he expects that they will be. Is that an expectation that is realistic or easy, or is that somewhere between an expectation and a hope?
No, I think it's realistic. And the biggest reason why is that, don't get me wrong, I understand that they had tons of talent issues on defense last year, but that to me was always secondary behind the communication stuff. And I just don't see how Christian Parker coming in year 1 with his new staff, that they're going to have those same issues with the guys that largely they wanted here. And so if you just clean up that, I would think that they're going to at least be a decent defense. I don't think they will be in the upper half of the league, but I don't see how you can't get into maybe the 15 to 23 range. And I do think that would be enough. I do think that the offense will be one of the best again. And so if you can get into that range, then that should be, a 10, maybe 11 win team. So I do think it's doable even with just one offseason.
Jon, speaking of Brian Schottenheimer, he was a part of the last Mike McCarthy staff that didn't make the playoffs, and he didn't make the playoffs last year. Would you be willing to say that if the Cowboys, for whatever reason, don't make the playoffs this year, that they could be looking for a new head coach?
It would really you'd have to tell me how the season goes, but I mean, I think I would lean to no on that just because Jerry just seems very comfortable with Brian being the head coach. And I know that shouldn't be the number one thing, but with Jerry Jones, who he's comfortable with as the head coach, seems like that's a major player in things. And so that's why I don't think, even if they had a really bad year, I think that he would get at least one more season. The one that always, with me, was always Sean McVay. Like if he was available, and let's say like Stafford retired or something like that, and he wanted to coach the Cowboys, would they go all in on something like that, like go after like one of the biggest names? But I just, over these last couple of years, man, it just seems like that Jerry and Brian are just so tight. I just don't think that he'd do that. I mean, honestly, I think Mike and Jerry were pretty good too. I think Jerry would have been fine going forward that way. So, I don't know. The Cowboys coaching spot kind of has surprised me in my time living down here over the last 15 years because it is a job that you really could get anybody, but it seems like it leans more towards anybody that will work with Jerry and it'll be comfortable for Jerry. And so I think things are pretty comfortable for Jerry right now.
This defense, you were talking about defense and certainly expectations with Brian Schottenheimer. What's missing? What hole is still out there? And I know, is it a Bobby Wagner? What do they need? What do they still need to really have the success they need to have?
A younger Bobby Wagner, for sure, would be the inside linebacker spot is the one for me. So I don't know if there's enough tread on the tires there to not only bring him in, but then give him, he's not going to leave the field if he's healthy. So I don't know how that impacts the younger guys. But inside linebacker, if they would have hit and got, Nakobe Dean or Quay Walker or Devin Lloyd, I mean, I already think the hype's pretty big on the Cowboys going into the season, but it would be crazy if they would have executed on one of those on the plan that, get a proven guy there. And that's the one thing that they have. And I think they'll be fine on the back end. I think that they'll do enough up front, but that inside linebacker spot, I don't think they're done there either. I don't think it will be Bobby Wagner. It might be another D Winners type player when they trim down rosters. I don't think that they're done there because I don't think that they know for certain who that green dot player will be. But if they can fill that hole, then I think everything else looks good.
Can Caleb Downs do it, or do we just have to give it to a linebacker?
No, he could do it. I wonder if that's a better thing for him in year 2, just because of how much there'll be on his plate already. But no, I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's got to be a player that's on the field all the time. He's going to be on the field all the time, whether he's playing nickel or he's playing safety. So he certainly could, and maybe that is the guy that ultimately ends up doing it. I just think that a first-year DC would probably want it to be a veteran player.
Jalen Thompson? Because I keep going through that in my head, too, and D Winners isn't playing every snap. I don't know why DeMarvion Overshown's not an option. I struggle to find the name of who it's going to be if it's going to be a linebacker, because it just seems like those don't make sense.
Yeah, that's fair. I just seems like it's always been a linebacker, so maybe it won't be. But I don't think that they even know right now. Like, I don't think they know for certain who it'll be. I think it's it's kind of like the Joe Milton, Sam Howell thing. I think they're just going to try and let it play out itself in training camp in the preseason and just kind of figure it out from there. But I don't think that they even know for certain. So I guess that right now you could say Caleb Downs has as good a chance as anyone. I don't think it'll be him. I think they'll find somebody.
G in the chat wanted to know if you have any road game stories about Clarence.
Let's see.
That you can share.
I mean, nothing. I will say
that you can't share.
Yeah, no, I'd say the biggest thing for me is I'm 44. I still consider myself relatively young. And even now, like, I can't really go out every Saturday before these road games and stuff like that, but Jill finds a way to get out there. So it's impressive.
He's in the streets. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in the streets. So yeah, nothing particular that I want to share, but I'm always amazed at the willingness to have a good time on those Saturdays before the Sunday road games.